Hello, motherfucking YouTube. Welcome to the very regularly scheduled Pennywise Daily Casts. Here you can see we've got an interesting matchup between Drakir and FC Lucy on the left-hand side, and Chuvis playing Fiesta, by the way, with a consort opener. Very nice roll there for him. And Laserheave 9000 on the right-hand side. Chuvis, it looks like, did save his Mythium. In fact, both players saved their Mythium wave 1, knowing that Chuvis was going for a leak, so a long wave. This is a pretty nice Fiesta start for Chuvis. This is about as good as you would have hoped. The one problem, I suppose, is that these guys are both on pretty safe openings, so not really under any pressure from the skip on wave 1. I think these guys are going to do just fine. So, in fact, Drakir and Lucy both staying 4 workers. Little bit sus. Little bit sus. Drakir not only staying 4 workers, but also opened with both the Windhawk and the Tempest. So playing a bit scared against the Laserheave and Chuvis duo, it seems. Hey, Piney. But yeah, these two are going to be just fine here against the small snail sends.
Okay, you look like a weeb. Are you a weeb?
Hey, Jan Palucci, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, there's not a problem here against this. Both players holding very easily indeed. So a nice play nonetheless with Chuvis with his Fiesta roll there. It didn't quite work out. They weren't able to leak the opponents, but I think it's still a very fine opening, especially when he Fiesta leaks 2 creeps on 1, 2 creeps on 2. Chuvis is getting some pretty solid value out of his Mastermind option here already. Now there is another income resend on 3 from all 4 players. Let's see if we get anything done with this one. Chuvis will need... Oh, he's got the Gargoyle as well. That is just perfect for him. It is just the best unit available on Wave 3 in the game, I've got to say, the Gargoyle. And the fact that he can add a couple of those here is making him look pretty solid. And he even goes for the Fire Archer. That's interesting. So probably not trying to hold... not trying to leak Wave 3, I should say, even though he's playing Fiesta. This should be an easy hold for Chuvis with the Archer, with the Gargoyle. He should be comfortably fine there. Laserheave with 300 value, including 2 crushers. Yeah, he's not leaking either. That's an easy hold in lane 4. And Drakir and Lucy, it looks like with their pretty high values, both players going to be just fine as well. So kind of nothing to see here so far. A bit of a shame that Chuvis couldn't manage to perfectly leak 1 or 2 wave 3 creeps as well. He did so well on wave 1 and 2. Thank you, Mr. Quacker. Alright, so a small income resend again from Drakir and Lucy and Chuvis, who, by the way, is rocking a cool 8 workers here on wave number 4. So Chuvis, I'm going to say, he's in a pretty good position. He probably knows that he has to play this one aggressively, because in ELO terms at least, Chuvis and Laserheave are heavily disfavored against Drakir and Lucy, both of whom are legend players already in the 22 season. So you might as well play it aggressively, right? Like, take your risks, because why not? If they pay off, you win the game and it's 30 elo. If they don't pay off, well, you know, you were disfavored to win anyway, and you're only losing, you know, 5 elo for the match. So a good call, a good way to play the game. A small leak there, but again, he's 9 workers. He's playing Fiesta. I think Chuvis is pretty happy with the way this game is going so far. Mainly spectating high elo games, Jan. Yeah, mainly, yeah. Yeah, 9 workers on 4 is pretty special. He doesn't go for the 10th. He still wants the Green Devil here, so deciding not to leak wave 5. I'm pretty certain, and maybe he's just expecting a resend to be fair, but there's no way he's leaking. Wave 5 with this build against the no-send Chuvis is going to be just fine here. Meanwhile, Drakir and Lucy, both of them looking pretty strong against the income sends that are coming in. Don't expect to see any damage done to these lanes either. Meanwhile, though, Lucy is saving her Mythium a little bit. She's on 87 now, and Laserheave is looking pretty damn weak on wave 6. I would have really liked to see a shift maybe coming out from Laserheave so that he could have dropped that gate on wave 6, or even the Disciple, just to give him some chance to hold there, because any decent size send from Lucy on 6 is going to result in a decent leak, I think, from Laserheave. But no, Lucy's continuing to save. Okay, so Drakir and Lucy clearly have a plan in mind. And if it's not 6, then it has to be 7, right? I don't really see them saving longer than 7. Against these builds, like Chuvis in particular is looking very weak on 7. I'd love to see him go for a shift here into the Millennium on 7, but that's pretty risky in itself. Yeah, he's fully building. He's dropping that Disciple. I think that's a good decision. But it does open him up even more on wave 7. This could be a bit of spicy action coming up on the next wave. Right, more income sends against Drakir and Lucy just enables them to push further. We might have a small leak here on Drakir though. Tempest not the best on 6, but actually he just looks fine. Just his value is enough, and it was only a Lizard Send after all. Lucy though, 50% there. A bit of unlucky focus from her atoms, leaving 2 Roccos on very low hit points. So this would have just been a full clear if they were able to focus the Roccos one by one. But that's fine. Drakir is cleaning up in the mid. And meanwhile, here comes the counterattack. So we've got the Mimic already there. And Lucy gets the Ogre pre-income. So definitely a pro leak there. 50% leak on wave 6, but it's going to result in 100% leak on wave 7 against the enemy. So Chuvis's best answer here is to drop a second Disciple. Okay, it's good damage, but he's just severely lacking in tanks here. All he's really got on the table is a Green Devil and a Consort, and they're just going to die within seconds from the Mimic, from the wave itself. This is going to be damage here on 7. Laserheap 870 value, but the Ogre is just so strong coming out from Lucy. Hey, L1 Barke, welcome to the stream. Yeah, as you guys know, I am a very regular daily streamer of Legion TD2. So nothing unusual here, really. This is just another day for another daily stream, you know. But look at it. Oh, it does snipe the Ogre on Laserheap. That's pretty important, actually. Chuvis, though, gets the home run. 100% damage incoming. Laserheap, 58%. A really good result against the 220 send that he's just received. I'm going to say he's done better than expected there, because Ogre is just perfect for everything he has on the board. Maybe a little bit of luck involved for sniping out that Ogre, but whatever the result is positive for Laserheap, because this could have been a lot more dangerous on the King. And in fact, Lucy and Drakir both leaking to their income sends, meaning they take a little bit of King damage themselves. No venting cast this time, L1. I'm actually recording this game for YouTube, so I'm going to just play this one normal for now. Maybe we can go into some of the rewards for the next one. Alright, so Jules is giving Drakir and Lucy a 9% advantage here, which is still fairly even, I'm going to say. Chuvis is decent in workers. He's leading the worker field. He's also leading the income field, and of course playing Fiesta. So he wants to get pro leaks as often as he can. So far he's been doing pretty well. The 100% home run on 7, obviously a little bit more than a pro leak. But nevertheless, I think Chuvis is in a pretty solid position in this game. The question is whether he's going to be able to carry, because his teammate Laserheap is sadly starting to fall behind in power score a little bit, and workers and income also. So let's see if Laserheap can bring himself back into the game, or whether Chuvis is going to have to carry this one. Alright, big sends coming out from all 4 players. I say big, at least full sends, so power mercs from all 4 players. Drakir, he has 270 gold. Is he just looking for the perfect place to play his Avenger? No, he actually goes with a Violet, which of course is pretty solid. He's not shifting. He goes in for the full Circle of Tempest and Violet there, and only receiving a Mole and a King up. That's a bit of an odd decision there. So Drakir is going to be just completely fine here. And Lucy with her 1135 value. However, nearly all units pretty weak on the wave. Sniping the Mole though. What kind of god gamery is this? That's pretty important actually for Lucy to kill that Mole so quickly, because it reduces the damage of her atoms by a lot. Meanwhile, Chuvis, 54% leak against the 200 send, while both Lucy and Drakir, it looks like, holding their mole and plus sends in their lanes. So you got to say that Chuvis is, of course, Fiesta. So despite him being leaking maybe a little bit more than he would have liked, he's not too upset about the leak. 16 workers now across the first 3 players. Lisa Heeb falling further behind, still on 13, lowest income in the match. Yeah, this is going to start pulling away from them if Chuvis and Lisa Heeb can't do something to get this game back into control. Drakir and Lucy are just going to start pulling away. Even though Chuvis is doing his best to keep up, it is a team game, and if your teammate falls further behind, it becomes harder and harder to win the match. So let's see what happens here. Right, all 4 players saving their Mythium this time. I think it's the first wave we've seen where nobody has spent Mythium at all. And there are aggressive options on the table. So there's both Overwork and Lizard Army spells available. So the players can decide to go for a big wave 11 or 12 send. The counter to that is the Sacrifice, which is a really good defensive option. So if anybody wants to try and hold the wave, Sacrifice is a very good choice. Chuvis, though, he just goes for income here, while all the other players are saving. We have 3 sacrifices. Oh, it's just down to Drakir. Another sacrifice. Okay, so all 4 players actually decide to go for the defensive route. There's no aggression going on. That's quite interesting to me, actually. Alright, Lisa Heeb is playing scared, going for the full king upgrades there. Chuvis joining in with his post-income Mythium as well. But Drakir and Lucy, they saved. So as soon as they receive the income and king upgrade sends here from Chuvis and Lisa Heeb, expect these guys to both fully push their worker button. Because Drakir for sure does not need to build anything to hold 12. And pretty much the same on Lucy, honestly. I mean, she's looking a little bit light on the tank front, but yeah, the fact that there's just no pressure on them anymore after Chuvis and Lisa Heeb go for a full send here in terms of king upgrades and income, this means Drakir and Lucy can push and save and send whenever they decide. Alright, and the send is still not coming. Looking at Chuvis's build and Lisa Heeb's, actually, I've got to say, this is going to be a 14 send. It's going to be a massive 14 send when it comes. The reason it's 14, all of Chuvis's tank line is natural armor pretty much. And of course we have the Hellgate here from Lisa Heeb, which is really, really strong on 13, but really, really weak on 14. So I'm definitely expecting to see the send coming there. Also the fact that Lisa Heeb now has 4 Bone Crushers on the board, like, great early game unit. It falls off really, really hard though. You pretty much never want to have 4 Bone Crushers on the board unless your role is really lacking in fortified armor, which his isn't because he has Mudman. But I have to say, send coming out on 13, and it's pack imps from Lucy and Drakir. I mean, sure, we saw Lisa Heeb harden here, and maybe the send is just going to be big enough that it doesn't matter. But I just think, you know, they got their income send on 11. They're not really under any pressure. They're pretty strong as well. They're not dying here on 13 themselves. They could pretty much go for a guaranteed win on 14. But I mean, maybe the fact the send is just so huge, it's just going to be enough to overpower Chuvis and Lisa Heeb, despite the fact that they're much stronger on this wave than they are on 14. So let's see what happens there. Alright, 600 Mythium enters Chuvis's lane, a mere 580 for Lisa Heeb. And these imps, with the pack leader, it's a pretty solid combo. Especially when you get 4 of those imps out, right? Because that's 8 extra units getting the pack leader aura. Massive leaks, 127% on Lisa Heeb, 106% on Chuvis. How could I dare to question the strategy of Drakir and Lucy? They know what's up. I think this is probably just game. King going down, going, gone. GG. Drakir and Lucy, probably as expected, given the Elo stakes. They win a cool +3 Elo from that match, which they'll be very proud of.
Are you a weeb?
Hey, Wicked, thank you for the follow, dude. Welcome to the channel. Alright, so let's have a quick scroll through the game and decide what happened. So Chuvas with his Fiesta, very good pro leaks on both 1 and 2. Unfortunately holding 3 and leaking bigger than he would have liked on 4. Then the save begins, and we see this massive send on 7. Lisa Heap did very well here, by the way, only leaking 58% versus an Ogre on 7 is something to be proud of. But Chuvas, however, with the 100% home run, a little bit less prize to be had in that one, I think. And that did result in their king dropping pretty low, 48% on 7. And then they just can't really afford to take those risks anymore because their king is already in danger. So all Drakir and Lucy need to do is go with this massive send here on 13, 600 Mythium pretty much in both lanes, and that's all she wrote. So well played Drakir, well played Lucy. A very well deserved win there.